stats from Quartz Hill, only dropping one game in the regular season, and not to mention that impressive stat that you said too, 159-14, just absolutely insane stat line. But enough about the stats. It's time to play. We're going to head out here on the pitch, Pacific Northwest versus Quartz Hill.
Past can only tell you so much from these teams. It matters how they match up on the day, and well, today is that day. Quartz Hill will feel like they have a right to take down Pacific Northwest and bring this land closer to their grasp, but they've got to defend their backline first here. Pacific Northwest will start us off in the scoring column 27 seconds in.
Yeah, that's Colot who's going to score that one, the first one for Pacific Northwest. Going to be starting things off hot with a good solo individual goal. Lots of opportunities still, lots of time left too. And we've seen it time and time before. It doesn't really matter who scores first. It just depends on who reacts to it. And we have a good reaction right there from J Spec. It'll be saved away by Colot though.
Oscar up to the skies. Doesn't get the block job done, but it falls to Vic. We'll at least get this one out through the corner. Looking solid, though, for the most part, trying to block out any push that Quartz Hill have on the offensive zone, although playing a bit too fast on that touch, and that leaves a bit of a window open. What do Quartz Hill have to respond? The center pass, not all inspiring here, looking for a target that is not quite in position just yet. The rotations look solid. They're not quite ready to strike fully. Ruben tries to change that. J-Spect has an open ball, but Vic gets back in time.
Yeah, it's such a huge missed opportunity right there. Quartz Hill knocking on the door, not going to find pay dirt though. Good 50-50 challenge at the midfield is Ruben. Here comes Oscar now. Has plenty of boost. Trying to get the air dribble, trying to get the dunk as well. J-Spec going to stand so tall and deny him entrance.
Despite the massive win-loss record in their favor, Quartz Hill, this is going to be one of the test-tier series for them! Oh, it ends up in the back of the net anyway. After all that chaos, it probably should have gone in about 5 seconds earlier off of that miss, but Quartz Hill will find themselves pretty lucky to be level in this game.
Yeah, Husk with a good putback. Ruben had the first initial contact. He just did not know where that ball was going to go as far as when the defense saved it away. So good heads-up play right there from Ruben to be there in present, but at the same time, Husk to be there. The young junior here on the Quartz Hill squad trying to make his mark and still has another year to go though, Gaugen.
Absolutely. Can only go up from here, you feel like, for these players who aspire to reach even further beyond, even the ones that are seniors already seeking out college scholarships to play in an ever-growing collegiate scene for Rocket League, which is so beautiful to watch for these players. Just continue to develop their skills in higher education settings. Oh man, I'm very excited to see the future of all these players, regardless of what happens tonight.
I love to see some of these teams playing next year for some of the top programs in college, especially with a scholarship offer. Look at Husk once again finding some pager, beating the defense as well. You beat one here at midfield, make Vic put his brakes on, and then you just have a dagger right into the left-hand side of the net. Quartz Hill up by 1.
And that dagger has a lot of punch to it. Nice little dash into the ground to get that shot through with a solid velocity here. And now we get into a similar position that we were in the previous series. Game 1 felt close all the way up until the closing moments where one team really distanced themselves from their opponents. Do we see the same this time around, or will it be Quartz Hill to hold on? It seems like the defense is falling just a bit there from those shots to the crossbar, but the crossbar were all they found. Quartz Hill try to turn the field quickly here and get something going of their own.
They have 2 minutes to do so. Pacific Northwest trying to equalize this one. It's going to be on the offensive end. J-Spect, good job taking that one away from a threatening position. Colato brought that one right back towards the orange half. It's a battle for midfield. They do escape as Quartz Hill, but only temporary relief. Here comes Colot trying to get that double touch off the back wall. Not going to find its mark. J-Spec now on the breakaway, trying to bring this one up towards the blue half. He does just that. Steals the boost. Ruben now from the corner. This one's a floater. Can we find something? No! Husk! And the putback from J-Spec is going to find the mark. What a transition right here from Quartz Hill.
The whole sequence was getting so fast, and it's a bit of a gambit from Quartz Hill, but it pays off in spades. They speed through that corner, trying to get the ball towards the front of the net as soon as possible. They go far side, and everybody from Pacific Northwest who had been drawn to said corner were out of position, not able to get the save through. Husk against 2, doesn't get a redirect. J-Spec credited with the shot, but it's Quartz Hill who hang on to a 2-goal lead with 80 to play.
Quartz Hill, complete control since that first opening goal. We talked about it before, how little it matters, especially against a team like Quartz Hill. Approaching the final 60 seconds here in game number 1. Pacific Northwest trying to claw their way back. They have possession, but they got taken away. Here comes J-Spec. Oh my goodness, the pre-jump read. You better put some respect on this play.
And here we go. A team starts to distance themselves a little bit from their opponents. Pacific Northwest not finding their defensive footing on countless endeavors, and it's biting them. They need to be a bit more sure of themselves, but it's a tall task to order for Pacific Northwest. Quartz Hill have done an excellent job of putting the ball everywhere that's impossible to get to, and Husk tacks another one on.
Yeah, it's going to be a ridiculous ball game here. Like I said beforehand, heading into this matchup, though, Pacific Northwest, I really felt like even though they're the number 1 seed, they were the underdogs in this situation. And right now, Quartz Hill is trying to make that a reality, and they're doing a good job at doing so. That's a good putback right there from Colot. Going to be too high. Trying to maybe get some sort of consolation goals headed into the next matchup. 35 seconds left, down by 4. I'm not too sure if they can come back in this one, Gauguin.
It's always interesting to think about the mental for the players, because we can't really put ourselves in that position too well, courtesy of the fact that we're both awful at this game. I know I'm
100%.
Probably making a bit more of a read onto you and self-reporting myself there, but at the end of the day, like, these players will go into this 60-second break, Quartz Hill, knowing that they dominated this game, but that it was only good for 1 in the series. Everything resets when we go to game 2. The question is, how much do Quartz Hill really feel that it's reset, and how much do Pacific Northwest really feel that it may be a bit helpless at this point? Because Quartz Hill, my goodness, they are everywhere you don't want them to be.
Yeah, on top of that, this is a good pop-off individual play right there from Husk. Had the flip reset, tried to push it by. The defense just could not get it by himself. J-Spec with the putback. I think that's going to be his hat trick, though. Last second, ticks off the clock. This one's all but said and done. We know the outcome of this game number 1 is going to be in favor of Quartz Hill as they win this matchup. The opening between these two, 6-1.
It's just tough to read this one. I mean, you look at that scoreboard, you go, could look to make in the rest of the series.
Well, to top that all off, like I said beforehand, Pacific Northwest, they started off so good in the beginning of this ball game. They have possession as well. Colot trying to make his mark again. Only person to score for Pacific Northwest the whole entire time in that game number 1, and had himself a couple of shots. A heck of a job on the defensive end as well with 4 saves, but they don't need to play defense, Gauguin. They need to play some offense. Losing 6-1 leaves a pretty bitter taste in your mouth there.
Defense wins championships, and offense scores goals, which wins games, which wins series, which gets you to land. I feel like the math, I think I did a pretty decent job at that. It's not too hard to understand, but I mean, sometimes it genuinely is really difficult to find that 1 foot forward without taking 2 steps back. As Pacific Northwest, well, they found that foot forward. It's a close angle through the corner, but a foot forward nonetheless.
I like the dive and dash right here, the give and take from Colot and Oscar as well. You saw Colot had the pressure. He brought it up from the corner. On top of that, Oscar just read that one perfectly and then gave a pass back to Colot. So not being selfish whatsoever. On top of that, I'd like to see Pacific Northwest score first. It just goes to show you, like, they're not too rattled heading into game number 2. They know they had a lot of mistakes there and let that game get away from them. Now it's up to Quartz Hill to answer back. Another shot attempt right there from Oscar. Husk is going to save it away temporarily. We're going to see maybe this one could result in a goal as well. Usually 9 times out of 10, that one pops too high. The defense usually kicks it out, and there it is.
Yeah, a bunch of people went for that and had every other idea about how the ball was going to end up. This one snuck through, and what a touch off of the inside of the own post there. That could have gotten very sketchy. Rattled off in the cage of Quartz Hill, but not in the back, and it's turned right the other way.
That's just unfortunate. 2 huge missed opportunities right there for Pacific Northwest, but at the same time, it's a good putback right here for Quartz Hill. I'm still just kind of impressed by that save, how that one was kept out. I still have no idea by Husk. And I swear that was going to be an own goal, but at the same time, he made it work in his favor.
It's a sequence where maybe you think the player gave themselves a bit too much credit on the save and had a bit too much faith in the post, but Oscar has full faith this ball is finding its way inside the post and absolutely delivers on a beautiful center pass. Nice jump, quickly beating J-Spect on the jump, and a nice second goal here.
I want to quickly point out that Husk and J-Spec both had themselves a hat trick in game number 1. Ruben, no goals, no saves, only 2 shots, and 1 assist in that game number 1. I want to bring up that stat line because we need to see more production out of Ruben here. But at the same time, if your teammates are, doing the work here in game number 1, it still leaves you as a sleeper moment, that can be activated at any given time. This is a bad backwards pass from Oscar. This is going to stay out. Ruben trying to have the follow-up touch. Kalat's going to have a good clear towards mid.
You want everybody to get involved, but it could be the system for Quartz Hill that they want to keep intact. If Ruben's going to be the one sitting back here trying to delay, now getting a little piece of the offensive action. A nice little redirect as well, but Husk can't get up for it. J-Spect a bit later on the jump again as well. Tough jump to make. Don't necessarily put any blame on the J-Spect there, but Quartz Hill trying to keep this push alive when they find themselves stretched out too thin just to try and find those second and third chances.
So lots of time left for Quartz Hill to come back in this matchup. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to be exact. I like this play design right there from Ruben with the flip reset into the corner and then the overtake as well. But not going to find its mark. Going to be another missed opportunity right there for Quartz Hill. Maybe the counterattack is going to work for them. Need to push up the pace of play just a tad bit. Here comes Husk. It's going to be popped over towards Ruben. He has a little bit of time to work with. Not too many resources, though. Going to field that one towards center. J-Spec has to respect that shot from Oscar. Vic with the putback. It'll be too wide to the right-hand side. Oscar. It's going to be a race to the other end now for Quartz Hill as they start up on the offensive end.
Time winding down just a bit. 100 seconds to play. Quartz Hill. This game looking a tad too neutral for them to find this second goal just yet. Trying to make their mark in the offensive zone, but every time they commit 2 players, they've gone to a space where they can't really move the ball with any more pace than it had entering, and it's cleared just as quickly by Pacific Northwest, but that's a beautiful response. Kalat takes it away from the crossbar. Sent back by J-Spect into the ceiling. Not ideal, but it falls to Husk. Looking for control. It's an awkward play to set up, but it somewhat works. It sent everybody out of position. Husk with a big challenge. And oh my goodness, I don't know if you can call this luck, but some sort of divine force was willing this ball into the box.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what it was. Rocket League gods blessing this Quartz Hill squad with a tie 2-2 with 1 minute and 2 seconds left. And I was going to say, looking at a potential overtime situation at this point in time as well. But I don't really foresee that one happening here, Gauguin. I think this one's going to be done in regulation. As you see, a shot from Husk is going to be denied by Oscar. But for how long is this Quartz Hill team going to be denied? Pacific Northwest trying to tie this series right back up.
I mean, in my opinion, that's honestly a bit of a bold call to make because Quartz Hill, they generate that chance, but it's the first real scoring chance that we see from them in quite some time, and it's off the back of some awkward challenges from Pacific Northwest. If anybody's going to end it, I feel like it's the team in blue, and Oscar absolutely delivers against everybody in the picture. The save not made. Oscar makes it 3.
Hey, the only reason I said that was because Quartz Hill had possession. I just want to make that clear, okay? I wasn't siding for Quartz Hill whatsoever. I believe Pacific Northwest can, win this matchup. I believe they can win this series as well. It just depends on how they're going to react and if they can keep out Quartz Hill right now for the last 24 seconds. You see J-Spec has other plans, though, trying to equalize this one. Oscar, good takeaway from the corner. Here comes Husk. No boost to work with. Going to be a pass over to Ruben, though. Good 50-50 from Kalat. Going to keep that one at midfield. Final 10 seconds. Pacific Northwest just need to hang on to tie the series right back up. Vic off the sidewalk. Going to pass that one backwards. A little bit awkward. Oscar still takes that one away. It's up in the air. 0-second shenanigans are probably in the books right now. Kalat pops it over to the corner. This one, oh my goodness, Ruben! No! Too far to the right side. That was so off the back wall. Can they get it? No, denied by Oscar. What a save! That one's going to hit the ground. Pacific Northwest tie up the series.
So close, but yet so far. And we head to game number 3, all square at one apiece. Big win for Pacific Northwest to take away here. A lot of things they did correctly in this game. Big adjustments made coming out of game number 1, and they've got a lot to work off of here going into the rest of the series. You've got to like their standing as it currently is, but there is so much more to see here. And I'm curious whether or not Quartz Hill dialed it back a little bit, tried to play a bit more conservatively. You mentioned Ruben being a bit dormant on the offensive pressure for Quartz Hill here. I wonder if they try and wake that up, really bring a full 3-headed attack forward, because Pacific Northwest, they didn't really have to do a whole lot of big defending except for that final 0-second sequence there, and it shows in the way that they won that game.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is such a series so far. Quartz Hill definitely did, I was going to say, take a little bit off, I really feel like, but at the same time, hats off to Pacific Northwest, because they started to have a lot of pressure that they were generating, and on top of that, take a lot of the offensive opportunities away from Quartz Hill. So it was a little bit of a mixture of both, I really feel like, Gauguin ultimately in the end. But I do want to report that Ruben did have himself a goal in that last game, still was not enough to push past this Pacific Northwest team there in game number 2.
We'll need a little bit more. 1-1 in the series, game number 3. Here on Wasteland, a very brutal yet somewhat dignified setting for this series that could turn aggressive if teams attempt to do so. We'll see Pacific Northwest try to take their first offensive chance of the game. Oscar, who had done so well in game 2, denied early on here at the middle of the field. Kalat picking things up where Oscar left off, but it's sent back into their zone. And this is where I start to worry for Pacific Northwest, is on this defensive stand, finding their footing, making sure they know exactly where they need to be with the resources in hand, not just playing it right back to Quartz Hill for a shot on target. And it's tapped in by a defender. J-Spec with the credit.
Yeah, this is just a mistake right here from Kalat from the corner. He had 100 boosts to work with. He just rushed this and pushed it right towards center. And of course, there was somebody waiting for that one. I believe it was J-Spec who was waiting for that one towards midfield. So that was just a little bit of a mind lapse, I want to say, right there for Pacific Northwest. But irregardless, they do go down first here, 1-0.
It's about 3:30 to play, 90 seconds gone, and not very much different from how we started off game number 1. And here's Ruben getting further down the field for Quartz Hill and making a big impact. Oscar alone on an island in the sky, and Vic not able to get in front of that shot.
Once again, just another missed opportunity right there for Pacific Northwest to clear this one over into one of the corners, and Oscar put that one back. He did the best he possibly could to make some sort of contact on it. He did just do that, but at the same time, it was easily read by Quartz Hill, and you have to play almost pixel perfect Rocket League if you want to compete with them. You can't be so telegraphic, is what I'm trying to say, against Quartz Hill, because they're going to make you pay for it. And they did just that on the offensive half. So down 2-0 now is Pacific Northwest. They're trying to fight their way back. Still plenty of time to do so.
Something that we still need to see from Pacific Northwest, this comeback potential. They like keeping themselves close, but Quartz Hill made a big show of just how close the beginning of game 1 was. Nearly the start of the response from Vic there. Everybody trying to get involved. Kalat missed. Now over to J-Spec for a quick clear, but it's honestly somewhat slowed down. Quartz Hill trying to bide their time and strike when they know it's ready and able to score. Husk with a beautiful touch here. Again, the slowdown from J-Spec over to the sidewall immediately ramped up into the pass shot right inside of the post.
Yeah, some pretty solid defense right there for Pacific Northwest, but once again, it comes down to just a couple of defensive mistakes right there on the rotation back through. that led to that goal from Quartz Hill. They knew exactly what they wanted to do with the ball. They executed it perfectly as well. Made that defense come up towards that midfield line to respect a couple of these challenges, a couple of the shots as well. Here comes another one, too, going to be fired onto an open net. They did the exact same thing right here, so watch the replay back. You see how the defense just gets sucked up. Quartz left on an island by himself. All J-Spec has to do is just lay that one up over the middle, and Ruben, recognizing that there's no one there, just had to put that anywhere he wanted to, and it's going to be a goal.
It's difficult for Pacific Northwest to not buy into these challenges so quickly. They just want to keep up the pace and the intensity here, but their touches are not it, and it's giving the ball right back to Quartz Hill to score right in their faces. 5-0, 2:11 to play. You already start to write this game off because you know how comfortable Quartz Hill feel right now.
Yeah, exactly, and you're just trying to dive at the ball in net as well, trying to get a desperate save, but at the same time, too little too late at that point in time. The defense, the offense knows what they want to do from Quartz Hill, and they executed it almost flawlessly. And now it's starting to be a little bit of a one-sided affair here in game number 3. Quartz Hill, we talked about how much they let off in that game number 2. Now they have some anger, frustration. They're letting it all out, and Pacific Northwest is that punching bag.
Cannot believe Pacific Northwest handed them just their 15th loss across all competitions.
Yep.
They are furious right now.
Exactly.
Quartz Hill. And you can tell in the way that they're playing, they're getting that much faster, that much stronger. Albeit not going for too many demolitions, but not really needing to find it when they get the defense all out of sorts. Collat, though! Wow. This is a nice play from the middle of the field to get one back.
I like the chain dash on the replay as well, but this is a great putback, like you said. Great car control, showing off the mechanics, and J-Spec just was not expecting that one to be so speedy and so controlled right there from Collat. So a huge individual goal, but only a minute and 30 seconds left. Pacific Northwest have a lot more ground to come up with.
Seen crazier comebacks. I actually don't know if I've seen crazier comebacks, but this would be a fairly mental one to witness if Pacific Northwest pull it off, and you have to feel like they had a chance up until the giveaway at the top of the zone, and the rest was history. Quartz Hill get another 6-1 result here, and the game's not even over.
Yeah, that's a good putback right there from Husk, the redirect upfield. I like it. I like what I'm seeing from Quartz Hill. Like you said, they're starting to warm up here, a little bit furious. This is an appropriate map over here to do it on, as you see all the fire in the background and on the sides as well. Wasteland, one of these beautiful maps. Look at this beautiful connection, though. I think that was Oscar and Collat trying to put that one in. Just missing target just a tad bit, but I like what I'm seeing from Pacific Northwest as we approach the final 60 seconds. They're not giving up. They're still trying to throw some shots towards net. They're still trying to work on their offense as well, but at the same time, they're not really revealing too much.
Both teams stepping up their game, but Pacific Northwest without the goals at the end of the play to make it really stick here in the series. It is only game 3 of a best of 7. Pacific Northwest have a game in their pocket. Not all hope is lost at this point in time, but they're certainly starting to stretch themselves out here as they look for solutions into the rest of this series. Quartz Hill, both wins that they've had in this series have been fairly dominant games, and the one loss they take is because they get scored on in the final 30 seconds of play. It's starting to look really good for Quartz Hill. If they keep this intensity up, they are getting closer and closer. Now just 2 game wins away from making it to Kansas City.
Final seconds ticking away on the clock, all zeros to be exact. That one's going to be hit into the corner. Quartz Hill going to easily win this matchup 6-1 on Wasteland. Go up in the series 2-1 as well. Looking forward towards game 3. Pacific Northwest have a lot of ground to come up with. They have a lot of work to do as well on the offensive end, Galgan. Just a
16-5. It was fairly close, about 3 or 4 shots difference, give or take, I believe.
Yeah.
And Quartz Hill still were just that effective with their chances that you could not let anything through. If you're Pacific Northwest, you have to be more resolute on your defensive end, and that only complicates things because you've got to save away every shot that Quartz Hill put on, and you've also got to generate some stellar offense of your own.
And not only that, but like we talked about pretty much mid-series, you can't be so transparent, I guess you can kind of say, with some of the offense that you have. It's easily read by Quartz Hill. They know exactly what you're going to do. They're going to take away those passing lanes, those shooting lanes, and they're going to start to challenge early. Look at this pass, though, from Ruben. A perfect air dribble over to Husk. a thing of beauty, but nobody up for Pacific Northwest to even try to stop that one.
And Ruben, I mean, starting that air dribble, like, if you want to talk about mechanical, expected plays from players, I don't think what Ruben did there is necessarily something you always expect someone to pull off, and yet it got 2 defenders out of the picture, it bought so much time, and it just suspended the entire play in disbelief for Pacific Northwest, where they were not able to tell where Husk was going with that shot. So much was working there for Quartz Hill to get that specific goal through, and that is the mystifying effect that their offense has. They're able to change the pace on a dime from fast to slow, back to fast again, however they want, and Pacific Northwest need to learn to play around this playbook.
Not only play around the playbook, but play around this defense as well. Lots of saves from Quartz Hill. In that last game, lots of saves here as well. That's a good infield pass. That one's going to find its mark easily. Husk knew exactly what Ruben was going to do with this one. That's Ruben's second assist here in game number 3, as well as, game number 4, as well as the second goal for Husk as well.
And again, there are only so many times that we can sit here and recite this broken record phrase about Pacific Northwest sending 2 defenders too early, trying to find this challenge. It's a heads-up play to be proactive and get that challenge going early. But Quartz Hill, every player on this roster has the mechanical ability to take it past 2 defenders. When they get beat that close to the goal is as good as scored for Quartz Hill. No matter where they are shooting it from, no matter who's going for the rebound, it's not going to be a difficult task for the shot taker. All of the hard work was already done by whoever was setting up the play.
I think it's more than that too, though, Gauguin. What a shot here from Oscar. Maybe the putback from Colot. Nope, we're not going to find its mark. Getting a 50-50 the top crossbar of Quartz Hill. But I think it's a lot more than that. It's game sense as well. Quartz Hill just so smart with a lot of their decision making on the pitch. Whereas, like I said beforehand, Pacific Northwest just almost telegraphs this one. And Quartz Hill just easily reads it, knows how to counter it, and on top of that, makes them pay. Look at the redirect right here. Not going to find its mark. Colot going to have enough boost to go up and steal that one away from Quartz Hill. Still only down by 2, though, as Pacific Northwest. But quickly approaching and come and gone the halfway point in this matchup. Another shot attempt right there from Ruben. Jay not going to find this mark. Lazily lay this one up towards midfield. Pacific Northwest still hunting for this first goal.
Even when bumping each other, though, in the offensive zone, Quartz Hill are still relevant. They just want to take this ball out of the hands of Pacific Northwest. It doesn't matter where they send it as long as they know where it's going next. J-Spec to Ruben. It's a beautiful 1-2-1 to cross the direction and go near side after taking it from that right side angle. Beautiful pass, beautiful shot. What else can you say?
I don't think beautiful is the right word, Gauguin. I'm going to say that right now. That was disgusting. That was filthy. Okay, that 1-2 punch right there from Ruben over to Jay, right back. That was insane to know. The communications is what I'm trying to work for here. The communications to know that you have to go back center for that one because it's not going to find its way in, as we see a close save right there from Husk. To go back center and put that one to the far right post was just absolutely mad, is all I can really say.
What are they doing out here? The
having fun. People can actually have fun with this game, okay?
I know. No, I'm not knocking them for it. I'm loving it. It's as if they're sitting in a private lobby just trying to dream up the most exuberant pass possible to each other that somehow ends up in the net. And yet I have full faith in Quartz Hill to pull it off right now because that's exactly what they've been doing. Yeah. The element of surprise is so important in Rocket League because games can get monotonous. It's the same thing almost every time unless you take it in your own initiative to do something different.
Not only that, but when you're up by 3, knocking on the door with another one with only 60 seconds to go, why not have some fun? Why not, try to mix up some crazy creative plays? And, it's a team bonding thing at that point in time. And on top of that, you have the goals to give up, too, in case something kind of goes bad. But at the same time, when this thing starts to happen, you see Quartz Hill start to pull away as well. It starts to have a lot more unpredictable touches. And the Pacific Northwest were struggling with the traditional Rocket League sense. Now they're starting to struggle with this unpredictability as well.
I do like that idea, though. The team bonding exercise that is qualifying for the HSEL Nationals tournament. You know, very, very carefree. Like, all right, everybody, we're going to get together, play some Rocket League. Good job. Let's move on to the next game. Husk, good job. Good. Everybody golf clap. Way to score. Yes. Quartz Hill, they just make it look so easy.
Yeah, it's filthy. It's definitely disgusting. It's almost like a huge mismatch, like I said before. A pro team taking on like a high school team almost. So that's how good Quartz Hill looks. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right there. Yeah, we talked about before how Washington, the Pacific Northwest, they were just gonna be in trouble headed into this matchup, and they were gonna be the underdogs, ranked number 1 even, being the underdogs, which is weird. But Quartz Hill is just that good, and they've been proving it time and time again. As the 0-second mark hits, Quartz Hill is gonna officially move on to match point.
Match point. 3 of them, and counting, for Quartz Hill. 3 chances to go to Kansas City, and they have to start feeling it now. There's no reason that they wouldn't. 3 shots on target for Pacific Northwest are not going.
That's been the tale so far between these two teams, and it's just been a thing of beauty to watch, but at the same time, disgusting to watch as well, because, you know, Quartz Hill just is living up to the hype, I guess you can kind of say, Gaugen.
Ooh, nice shot here, though, to start things off. Vic wants a bump on Husk, trying to take the ball away. And Pacific Northwest have come out swinging here in game number 5. It's exactly what they need to do. But where's the goal to seal the deal here on the sequence? It's right over the top, and Oscar delivers right at the time of calling.
That's a good job right here for Pacific Northwest to score this first goal, get some of that pressure off their backs, and on top of that, keep them alive here in the series. But at the same time, there's still 4 minutes and 34 seconds left on the clock. We know how dangerous Quartz Hill is. Pacific Northwest, though, it has to be a sigh of relief at this point in time to get this first goal, because of the fact that, because of the fact that, you know, Quartz Hill has just been dominating this whole entire time. You really haven't had too many chances on the offensive end.
No tapping out here. You gotta own this fight till the final bell. And Pacific Northwest, well, they've got more work cut out for them. Ruben is waiting at the top of the box. The ball delivered on a silver platter from J Spec. Ruben says, thank you very much, and just slots that one dead center.
Yeah, I think Ruben heard me. He's a little upset that I told him he needs to be more productive, and he's taking it out right now in this game right here, so I'm sorry in advance, Ruben. My apologies. I didn't mean to. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. But, yeah, Ruben, the senior here, doing beautiful things. J-Spec, the senior as well. Like we said, we still can see Husk in the future for Quartz Hill. The young junior still has a year left in him. And multiple offers here from J-Spec and Ruben. I'm anxious, Gaugen, to see where they land here in the College Rocket League scene. They're definitely going to be on my radar for sure.
It's going to be great. I've heard some rumors that the North American collegiate scene, someone crunched the numbers and said that collegiate teams next season are going to be average rank A, which is just insane to think about. Like, for the growth of collegiate esports, it's just going to be so cool to watch.
And not only that, but you talk about, you know, six-mans. For those of you who don't know, rank A is a six-man's rank in Rocket League. It's kind of like this underground scene is the best way I can kind of describe it, of like ranking for bubble scene players in general for Rocket League. If you're trying to compete, most of the time, the first time they ask you is, what is your six-man's rank? And a lot of people, you know, if you're B, B+, A, X, like you're really, really good at the video game. So to hear that is not only insane, but at the same time, it just goes to show you how much improvement the collegiate scene has had, and the skill set. The bar has just been raised and met by a lot of these young high school kids who are looking for that proper team to make their impact on. So that's what I'm trying to say. Quartz Hill definitely have some great players here. I can't wait to see where they go.
Absolutely. For now, still a game to be played. There's a good amount that's happened despite no goals being scored in the past couple minutes and seconds or so. Pacific Northwest have had some chances to break out of the zone, but again, it's some of the same woes they've had earlier on in the series, just not finding their connections in the middle of the field, not extending this play all the way through to give themselves any meaningful offense. And Quartz Hill have been pouncing on every single chance that they can, just lying in wait for this ball to come right back to them towards the mid, as J-Spec has so much time to challenge this ball in the enemy corner, trying to get this one centered up, but a nice pinch could just be the door opener the Pacific Northwest need.
And I think Vic is still hunting for his first goal in this series. I do like the aggression from him right there, trying to put his best foot forward, trying to get that redirect upfield too. And not only that, but put Pacific Northwest up by 1 with short time remaining. And I think that stat line is going to stay true, Gaugan. Vic has not scored a single goal just yet, but still being relevant, trying to get the ball rolling here on Pacific Northwest on the Quartz Hill side.
I'm just still caught on the fact that I saw Ruben launch to the stratosphere there on that sequence as Pacific Northwest try to get possession back in the midfield. Nice touch from Vic and Shadow. It may be offered off, but it's rung off the bar. And here's the transition they could need. J-Spec, though, picks up a 100 boost at just the right time, but it's a giveaway. Ruben's down below, and Pacific Northwest, they've got to be a bit more ambitious than that because the opportunities are there, but they've still got to do the knocking.
Right there is another telegraphed clear that's going to be gathered up by Quartz Hill. A lot. Good job putting that one back towards the left-hand side, but it's going to be received by Ruben. A little bit of a rush right here. I do like Vic going back down, letting Oscar try to get that 50-50. He does win that exchange. Kalat should clear this one to the right-hand side. There goes Oscar trying to get the redirect upfield. Instead, it's going to turn into a dunk in favor of Quartz Hill. Oh, my goodness.
The play, Kalat tries to get it off the sidewall there, but it's bounced too far. Everybody else from Pacific Northwest had already rotated through towards the middle of the field. They weren't ready for it to end up in the shooting lane, and Quartz Hill are there to pounce, now 38 seconds away from Nationals.
They can feel it. They can taste it as well. 30 seconds remaining. Can they get this one done in regulation? Pacific Northwest trying to battle upfield. It's been a journey thus far. An undefeated season for both of these teams. The journey ends here in this game. Right now, Pacific Northwest trying to get this one by at least Quartz Hill members. They can't quite do it. Final seconds ticking away. Oscar towards mid. That shot from Husk gonna be the final one. Quartz Hill are going to Nationals.
A big 5-game series win here in the best of 7 for Quartz Hill. They let one slip through their fingers, but one